Today, United Nations Association of Uganda, UNAU, together with other stakeholders, held a conversation with youth from schools and outside schools on Voluntary National Review Report, a process through which countries assess and present national progress made in implementing the 2030 Agenda, including achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and a pledge to leave no one behind. These were listening to perspective of the youth on how far Uganda has gone in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. They were also assessing how far the country has gone in achieving the goals and the missing gaps, and finding how the youth can be part towards fostering in achieving the SDGs.
SDGs are the Sustainable Development Goals that were developed by the United Nations in 2015, and the goal is that these should be achieved by 2030. So we have 17 goals. Last year we had a particular 5 goals, key points that Uganda was focusing on. And so today we are having a conversation to assess how far have we gone in achieving these.
Leaders of younger people in schools and outside schools say that because youth make the majority of the population of the country, they have a big role to play towards the realization of sustainable development goals.
When we speak about the role of the youth, of course we cannot ignore the fact that the youth make up the major population of this country. So they have a crucial role to play. The youth have really engaged in so many different aspects when it comes to the implementation of SDGs. They have engaged in agriculture, they have engaged in e-commerce, they have engaged in all these other things that really help us in the acceleration of the SDGs.
The future is ours. And so as the youth we have to get on board to find out how we can be part of this initiative, how can we be part of this process. How can we use our expertise, how can we use our skills, how can we use our energy to make sure that we are achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Dr. Melody Arinda, UN African Youth Fellow for Uganda, says that the SDGs does not stop in 2030. For instance, goals of no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being and others. Therefore, it's vital for the youth to be part in ensuring that SDGs are achieved.
This does not stop in 2030. The goals of no poverty, the goals of no hunger, gender equality, good health and well-being, peace and stability, this is something that we want to see in the world beyond 2030. And so because we are the young people, we are the people who are going to be there beyond 2030, 2050 and beyond. So it is very important that we are part of this conversation.
She adds that the majority of the youth don't understand the SDGs, raising the need for youth to be aware of these SDGs and taking over opportunities available.
Some youths that actually do understand what the SDGs are, but then there are also many that do not understand. And this is a gap that we are working hard, even in today's conversation, to find out how can we bridge this gap.
But what has happened is that the youth in the villages are not aware of anything to do with sustainable development. So there are also youth in town centers who do not understand issues to do with sustainable development. People continue to cook food in polythene bags. That's a question of health and well-being. That's a question of the sustainable development goals.
Amina Nassari, the president, Uganda Youth Coalition for SDGs, notes that they are engaging the youth because they want to get their success stories and follow closely on the journey as they are implementing the SDGs and find out the challenges they encounter.
This very engagement, which is the youth VNR consultation, I believe it is going to play a crucial role because we cannot look at the other aspects when we are speaking about youth. We have to know what are the youth doing, what are their success stories, because we need to understand what progress has been made when it comes to SDGs and their implementation. Go back to that village, talk to some person about these SDGs, tell them what they are, tell them what they mean, and on top of that, as the person who is spreading the gospel, you need to really educate yourself. You need to change mindsets out there, and the only way you can change a mindset is when you know what you're talking about.
She further noted that in Uganda, despite some goals stagnating, there are those that are progressing very well.
Uganda presents a mixed picture, but yes, the answer is yes to that, but still we present a mixed picture because there are goals that are stagnating and there are goals that are really progressing.
I believe that government has done its part, and we've noticed that government has come up with different programs. We have the youth livelihood program, we have Emyoga, we have the parish development model. And these are programs aimed at empowering young people. And
the challenge is that government is more thrust on policy and they are not concerned about promoting and awareness.
Richard Baguma, Secretary General, United Nations Association of Uganda, also explains to why it's important to consider meeting leaders of young people towards the realization of sustainable development goals.
For you to have meaningful and sustainable change, you must be the change that you want to see. You must engage with the issues that you want changed. And that is why we are meeting. We are meeting leaders of young people in school and outside school to discuss together, to find ways and means of adding energy, adding impetus, adding fuel, adding urgency to the things we need to do to make sure that we achieve to a larger extent the targets within the Sustainable Development Goals.
The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals replaced the Millennium Development Goals in 2015 as a new set of international development goals which several governments pledged to meet by 2030. Julius Mumuza, Church of Uganda Family TV, News at 8.